We just finished watching Metropolis.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, Metropolis is an old school German film. We're talking real old school. What did we say? 1927.
1927.
Silent film, and truly a fine example of the idea of a silent film. It's stunningly well done, and I think I'm probably not the best one to talk about it. Go ahead, Dan.
I don't know. This is one of those films that always sort of like amazes me with the creativity of the silent film era. By the way, the reason I'm wearing this is because I'm the mechanical man here. Yeah, I mean it's definitely very interesting story. I love the backdrops of the sets with the giant buildings. I don't know, the characters, I don't know, they're not too in depth because it's a silent movie, but I don't know, it's very entertaining. I think.
Yeah, I really loved the sets. The sets were amazing. They must have poured lots of money into building these huge buildings, and a lot of the scenes that took place for very little time were still extravagant, and I was thoroughly impressed. I never knew that black and white movies poured so much effort into that. The costumes were, they weren't they weren't amazing because the setting didn't require it to. They basically served their purpose for the characters that were wearing them. This is probably the first silent movie we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's the first one.
Yeah. So I was a bit bored in the beginning, but I was kind of impressed how much suspense there was towards the end. Yes, you have to go through an hour and a half of just kind of waiting for the action to start, but once it starts happening, it's pretty impressive for the time, and I think it's a pretty great movie.
I think what makes silent film so charming is the type of acting that you have to get out of it. It's very, very different from speaking film, where you can get a lot of emotion in the tone of your voice and the way that things are said, but everything in a silent film has to be done just through body movements, and it's very interesting to see how the actors can portray different emotions by just moving around, and it's actually this part of the film that I enjoy the most is how much they can get done in a scene and how few title cards they actually need. Occasionally they'll throw in title cards when they need very, very important pieces of information to get across, but it's amazing how much they can do just with visuals, and so it's really kind of an interesting medium, and then this is a great example of the silent film.
I don't know. If I had to pick the actor, the person in the film that I thought performed the best, I would probably pick the woman because I have no idea what her name is. But
I think it was Maria, actually.
I don't know. She definitely came off very well. She has to play two different roles, sort of like the complete opposite.
You're saying as the actor, right?
What?
The actor.
The actress.
The actress, not the character. Because the character and the actress.
I'm talking about the actress. The character, I don't know. Like I said, they can't get too into depth with a silent film, but you can still sort of see how the characters are presented in the way that they move around and stuff. I don't know. I sort of found the guy a little bit obnoxious at times because I don't know. I think I might have actually seen this guy in other movies, or at least maybe he's just like the cliched German guy, main character, because he seems like the guy from The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu. I don't know, but he's a little melodramatic. But the female actress, she has to play two different roles in the movie. Both are like the complete opposites of each other, and I don't know, she acted very convincingly, I think. Could definitely get a feel for these two very different characters from her mannerisms.
In silent movies, I would say the most important factor is or at least the least important factor would be the actors. I mean, yes, she did. Granted, she did a great job, but I mean, after watching Singing in the Rain and seeing how the acting abilities are a bit different from silent films as opposed to where they're talking, I kind of gave me less respect for silent film actors. I mean, Charlie Chaplin was awesome, completely different, but in this case, I kind of had less respect for the actors and much more respect for the director. Almost always, I'd say the director is what makes the movie amazing, as he's the one telling the story, or she.
I would disagree with Harsha's statement on silent movies. I think silent movies are all about the acting. For me, these films they're very, very simple shots. I mean, when he sets up a scene, it's usually just setting up a camera in the center of the room and rolling it, and it's all up to the actors to sort of portray the scene and to move around in ways that you understand what's going on. So, in many ways, I think these silent films are a lot like just stage productions, so they add the camera aspect into them because there's a lot going on. And again, they don't have the benefit of talking to each other, so they have to do everything with their bodies and the way that their faces look. And yes, their emotions seem exaggerated at points, but it's necessary for the medium, and it requires a special type of actor, and I think it's a very, very difficult art.
But with those actors, we can't judge whether or not they could perform just as well if their voices were being recorded. But at the same time, they're not the ones who are they're not given the story and they have to use their creativity and just try and express what is happening. It's the director who's telling them, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to grab the gun from him, or you're going to do this. It's not the actors who create that, and they're just kind of props, at least in silent films. That's what I see them as. Does that change your opinion?
It really doesn't change my opinion at all.
How does that not?
I mean, it is an opinion. I personally enjoy the acting in silent films. I think that it's the actors have to be sort of different caliber. I don't think it's necessarily the director who tells them what to do. I mean, like the actors definitely bring their own sort of approach to it.
I mean, obviously, you need a director behind the helm who can get the visuals across, but I think at a point it's up to the actors to make the scene. It's silent film. Silent film requires a lot out of everything on screen to sort of get the visuals across without inputting title cards, and that's basically what the goal of the film is to get enough going on so that you don't need to break in the action to explain it. And I think a lot of that is up to the actors because, again, these cameras weren't advanced and they can't move around, and so it's a lot up to the actors and just capturing the action, but they have to create the action.
In Metropolis, can we agree that the significance of this movie is more of the message and, well, I mean, a significant part of the movie is the message rather than the props and everything?
Well, I would sort of say that plays a part in the movie. It's an interesting thing trying to sort of bridge the gap between the worker and the overseers or whatever, and I don't know. I think it might have actually been. This is a film that's pretty famous for its censoring, and I think I don't know. There could be some communist undertones, but I mean, if you actually pay attention to the film, it really doesn't come off like that. It's definitely a sort of anti any sort of violence. It's basically the message that's being repeated over and over is the mediator between the head and the hands has to be the heart. And I don't know.
I thought that was pretty cool, and a big message I saw in the movie was how when people are upset and there's just all it takes is just one person to start a huge riot, uncontrollable, violent riot. And this movie is kind of saying how things can, no matter how stable they may seem, can always turn chaotic. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Personally, I thought it was like a very, very grand idea that these people were trying to do, and they captured it pretty perfectly. The sets are spectacular, and it's a very interesting, creative plot. I really enjoyed the movie.
Considering the time it was made in, I think it was a fantastic movie. Even the fact that it's still comparable to movies now, it's makes it even more impressive, and I actually enjoyed it.
For the technical limitations of the time, it's amazing what they could do with lighting and with subjects and framing and things like that. It's definitely a masterwork of filming and of the medium of silent film. It's truly a shining example of a silent film, and it's highly entertaining.
Thanks for watching. Yay.
I'm taking this off.